Hey guys, Turnbuckle Tavern here. In the news, Ace and Chad, we're going to be talking about, can CM Punk remain in AEW? Is it going to cause a rift with the locker room? Can Tony make that call and people be happy about it? If you want to give us some love, go to theturnbuckletavern.com. We got a bunch of stuff over there. We appreciate any support. But Ace, is there a way for Tony to keep Punk in this company without there being a rift?
It's a challenging question to answer, and unfortunately for everybody involved, they're going to have 6 to 8 months to figure it out. But if something can be fixed, it's in Punk's court right now. I think if business can be done, Punk, as we read the reports, has to make amends, and I think there's a lot to be said about the details that will come from that internal investigation, from what's going on with, Ace Steel and the chair throne and everything that had to do with that. So I think a big piece of CM Punk coming back would be him cooperating and willing to work together with everybody involved.
Do you think Punk has it in him to make amends? Now, I'm hoping, before you answer that, I'm hoping in my heart of hearts that when he's sitting at home rehabbing that tricep, he starts to feel a little guilty about what he did. It's like, he loved that company, how they handled the Brody situation with such class. And he starts to feel a little guilt because he spoke very highly of Nick and Matt from the Bucks. That's why this kind of came out of left field for me. So I hope he feels some guilt, and that Carney brain of his, that old school Carney brain, kicks in. He's like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's make some money off of this. And he offers the olive branch to the Young Bucks to, hey man, let's see if we can make amends and turn this into an angle. I wonder if he's got it in him, if he has too much pride to make that type of decision. I hope he makes that decision because, in my opinion, the only way CM Punk can remain in AEW, if he buries, I don't think he has to bury the hatchet with Colt Cabana, but I think he definitely has to bury the hatchet with the Elite, and they have to make money off of this shoot, turn it into a work. Then I think all parties involved could move forward and do business. But if this is one of those things where there's bad blood, he refuses to make amends, I think he's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he has to do something that's out of character for what he's been in his past. He's going to have to come with his tail between his legs and admit that he was wrong. And can people change? Of course. 6 to 8 months is a very, very long time of sitting and thinking, like you mentioned. There's a lot of reflection time for CM Punk, and his future and his legacy in pro wrestling, for better or for worse, will be remembered for something like this. And I don't know if this is how he's going to be okay with going out of... I mean, listen, he came into AEW wanting to be, I guess, a mentor, a teacher for this young generation of wrestlers, and he's been everything but, as we've seen. So I think going back, I mean, selfish behavior, he may just want to come back to fix it, to fix his legacy, because I don't know how you sleep at night knowing what you accomplished in the wrestling business. This is what you'll be remembered for. And as a wrestling fan, I feel sick to my stomach about that. I can't imagine how he, as a competitor, to put blood, sweat, and tears into his livelihood is going to... This is what people are going to remember. They're going to remember 15 minutes in a press conference with a couple cupcakes. And man, that has to sting more than anything.
Yeah, because it was such a big monumental moment for pro wrestling when he made his return at the Last Dance, or was it the first dance? The first dance.
Yeah.
In Chicago at the United Center. It was so big. Everyone was so on a high from that. And now if this is the tale of his run and return in pro wrestling in AEW, such a sad way to like self-sabotage the way you go out of the business. And I just hope he's not one of those guys who has too much pride. I do think when he lays his head down at night, he knows he fucked up. He knows he made the company look bad. Tony Khan, though, what kind of spot is he in? Like what is the decision-making process for a Tony Khan to, you're obviously a fan of Punk. One could say Tony's a mark for Punk. but he's in this he's between a rock and a hard place. The guys he started this company with is on one side. The guy that he fought to get is on the other. The two guys he went after in the beginning was Jericho and Punk. And he got Jericho. He didn't get Punk. Now he gets him, and this happens. So what's going through Tony's head?
I mean, pro wrestling, I think this is the one business that we can see amends being made for the craziest situations. I think go back to the Bret Hart situation. Eventually he found his way back to WWE and Vince's arms and got honored in the Hall of Fame and had another WrestleMania match in jorts and all of that. So I think people can get together and make money when the situation's there. Pro wrestling has had a track record of that happening from time to time. Just, we haven't seen a guy like CM Punk come through wrestling, and he'd have to completely do a 180 on his character at this point. Personally, not his wrestling character, his actual character as far as ego goes, and putting that aside, it's going to take a lot. And then going back to your question about Tony, this is a groundbreaking moment for his leadership, or establishing whatever that looks like for him, because now everything that's based off of decisions he's made is going to be compared to this and how he handled this. And I think right now he's trying to kind of get the hold of the ship. It's steering away from him. And I think this is a time that he's either going to have to bring in people to be leaders for him, or establish himself as a leader and stop being booking with the fan perspective. As you mentioned, he loves CM Punk as a fan, but now, I mean, you're seeing from that side of that aisle where maybe you empathize a little bit what other companies and other executives were dealing with CM Punk. So I don't envy the position Tony Khan's in, but he kind of put himself there because he didn't face this head on.
Yep.
If you just would have, first of all, there's a couple of things. You could have stopped this from the beginning with Hangman Page and had a conversation with everybody involved. This has been brewing. We've been doing in the news about this for about 4 or 5 weeks at this point.
Yep.
And this has been going on since May. We didn't even know that. So everybody knows that this has been tensions boiling over. But you also could have stopped it in the moment. Once he started disparaging the company live on air, you just pull the mic. And then you just say, listen, we're done. And let Punk throw a hissy fit. He doesn't have the live mic. Deal with the repercussions privately. But now everything, all the dirty laundry is aired out. And now you have to deal with, now the Bucks are upset. Omega's upset. The whole locker room's upset. And now CM Punk's not even there.
Yep.
So what are we doing?
Yeah, this is the aftermath of a non-confrontational lack of leadership.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't want to step on any toes, so now he stepped on a lot of toes, fans included. So I'm with you. Tony's in a tough spot. I think, here's the thing. I think probably the easiest guys for him to make amends with is the Elite. I think Omega and the Bucks, I think they would be very easy and forgiving. I've always heard from everyone, every wrestler always talks about how just genuine and how good of guys Nick and Matt Jackson are. And I think if you get those two guys kind of on your side, their buddies will come along. I think they can make amends with that. I think the big leap for Punk is to get the locker room behind him again. Because I think there's a lot of people there that they don't know how to feel about it. But if he can get the Elite, I feel like a lot of people will fall in place and like, hey man, if they can get over it, we can get over it. So just closing up, Ace, like, do you just straight up, do you think he can remain in AEW? And if he can, what's the caveat to that?
Can he? Yes. Will he? No. I just think there's so many variables that need to come into play here for Punk to make right that I don't think he's willing to jump through the hoops because, like we talked about, history has shown us that CM Punk is CM Punk. And that's kind of what we like about Punk. He's he's the anti-hero. He goes against the grain. He rubs people the wrong way. We love that when it's in our favor, when it's in Vince's face. But now that he's burying the guys that established this company, I was very supportive of the Elite, and I understand they're not completely in the right. There's some changes that need to be made. EVP should be stomping down doors no matter what. Whoever's story's right, Ace Steel, or who knocked on the door or kicked down the door, we don't really know. We will know those details, and we're going to start to be able to place blame on different people, and our perspectives may shift a little bit in the coming weeks when that internal investigation is done. But until then, everybody looks bad here, including Tony Khan, AEW, and as fans, we're sitting here talking about this instead of an epic night of All Out where CM Punk regained the championship in Chicago. Yeah, it's a shame because everything that he was complaining about, he's made 10 times worse.
Hypocritical. A lot of hypocritical choices from Punk, and I'm with you. I don't think it's good. I don't think the future is good for Punk. I think we're going to be punkless in AEW. I think the only way he remains is if those guys make amends and they make money off of it. If it's just them kind of looking the other way, I think Punk is gone. So I guess there's caveats to can he remain in AEW? I'm with you. He can, but I highly doubt he will. Guys, thanks for tuning in to another In the News. We're going to have more of these coming at you on the regular. Try to go to theturnbuckletavern.com. Support us any way you can. We appreciate it. Jump in the comments. Do you think Punk can remain in AEW? Is it going to cause more division within the company? Can we work our way out of this? What's Tony Khan going to do? Let us know. Scream your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, guys, we will see you around.